Hey, welcome back. So in this tutorial, we are going to finish up our health pickup by doing the blueprint, combining the object that we created, so our static mesh, and with the material, and then putting it all together in the blueprint and creating the blueprint so that we can have a pickup and then add health back to our character when we take any damage. Now, there is one thing that I need to talk about real quick. In the last tutorial, I did not put in a value for IOR. Now, I did put in a couple of text message pop-ups that you should have seen, but basically the IOR needs a default value of 1.33. That'll make it so that we actually have a little bit of IOR refraction from our glass, a little bit more than what we had. These values that we have here will give us something, but this gives us the amount that we should be having. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at where we're at. We have this so far. And if we go into our content drawer, into our content mesh, right now, nothing is assigned to this health cross. If I select it, we can go ahead and assign our material here so that it'll automatically come in with our material. Right here, we have this world grid. I'm going to hit the down arrow and type in mi underscore and it was glass, and it should be glass green. And there we have it. Now I can save it. So when I actually put this model into our blueprint for our health pickup, it'll automatically already have the material assigned to it. You don't have to do it this way. You can choose to assign a material inside of the blueprint, but since we're going to use it anyway, I went ahead and just put it in there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make the blueprint. So we're going to go in to our content folder, to our folders inside of there, our blueprint folder, and we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this pickups. Now there'll be some other pickups besides just the health pickup, so we'll just make it easy and call them pickups. Double click on there, we're going to right click, going to get the blueprint class again, and this is going to be an actor. Remember, we're not, we want to spawn it, but we're not going to control it or possess it, so an actor will be fine. We're going to call this BP underscore health pickup. All right, so now that we have that, let's double click and open it up. Now, first thing we're going to want to do is we have the scene, default scene root. We're going to leave that in here. We're going to select it. I'm going to hit add, and we're going to go ahead and look for a box collision. So we want this box collision right here, and it comes in just box. Usually I give it an additional name. You can call it box collision or trigger, because that's what this is going to be, is a trigger for us. So whenever we overlap with it, something will happen. Now, the box trigger, the dimensions I gave it, because here we can actually select the scale and change the scale on it. My dimensions are not all equal for this one, so I put in 1.5, a 2, and another 2. And that's going to give us kind of that shape that our little health pickup's going to be. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add in underneath that a child of that static mesh, not a skeletal mesh. This is one that has a skeleton. We want a static mesh right underneath it. And we're going to call this health. And over here for our static mesh, I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to type in SM underscore. We call this health, so it should be health cross. Click that and select it, and that should pop right into our dimensions here. Now it's going to take on, you notice up here, the scale. It's going to take on the scale that we assigned our box trigger, because I made the health a child of our box trigger. And that's why these funky numbers here, 1.5, 2, and 2, forced this pickup to actually be crunched in here a little bit more. If that did not work for you, you may have to scale, and you can select it. So you can scale this mesh, if you wanted to, for example, if I wanted to put this all back to original size, if I hit the arrow right there and put it all back to 1, it can come in like that scale right there. And then you can scale it. Because it is a child of the box trigger, you can still manipulate it and change it to what you want it to be. And of course, you can scale it down to whatever you want. So this is the vertical scale. And if we undo the little blue things right here, this is what causes the snap. So notice when I pull on it, it kind of snapped down. If I undo that, now I have more uniform control over it. But that moves the up and down. This will move the side to side, of course, and this will move the depth. But I want to scale it evenly, for example. So if I grab the center one right here, I can scale it down so it scales evenly and fits in there like that. And it's right around 0.5. I'm going to put the lock back on and 0.5 for all of these and make it rounded up so it's just easier to keep track of. And that's pretty much what I want. So I'm going to hit compile. I'm going to save it. Box trigger is a little narrower like we wanted it. Now if we scale the trigger, it's going to change the scale of our child that's inside of it, so our health will actually scale down smaller. So just keep that in mind. If you want to change the box, what you can do is you can click and drag so that it's no longer a child like this. Okay, and see how it kind of messed my health back up again? It did all that. So I'm going to hit Control Z, put it back where it was. All right. So that gets us started. We have our trigger and we have our health. One other thing that we need to do is, if you noticed in my video, the health was actually rotating. So it kind of has this little rotation movement. There's already a feature that allows that to happen for us. We don't have to actually program it. So if we go back up here to add and click the add button and type in rotate, we get this rotating movement right here. If I click on that, hit enter, I'm just going to leave it saying what it is. And I actually believe I left this default. I don't think I did anything with it. I left it at 180 for the rotation rate. So it'll rotate at a rotation rate 180 degrees. And it actually gives the look that we want. I'm going to compile and save that. If we select back on the health, the other thing that's going to happen, so we have our static mesh selected. We think about collisions, right? We want our character to actually pass through it. We don't want this to collide and cause our player to stop or bounce off our player. So we're going to need to change the way collision is handled here. Right now it's set on block all dynamic. And what we really want it to say is block or overlap all dynamic. So we want to overlap all dynamic. We don't want it to block anything. So if I hit the collision presets, now it should have changed everything to being faded out like this and overlap. So this will allow our player to run right through this without actually having a collision. And our box trigger should already be default set to overlap all dynamic. So we should be good for both of those. So compile and save it. Now we're going to go to the event graph. And for the event graph, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's jump back into the viewport here real quick. Let's select the box trigger. And what we're going to want for the box trigger is over here on the right-hand side, all the way at the very bottom, there are some things that already come kind of set up for that box trigger so that we can just select it and it'll create that component for us. And in this case, whenever our character bumps into the box, we want something to happen. So on component begin overlap, let's select that. Now let's go back to the event graph. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to need to get the player, because remember, in our player blueprint, we already have a health variable over here. And we're going to want to refill that health every time we do a pickup. We don't actually have a way to refill health other than this variable. This variable, we're using it here to cut down and remove our health, but we're not using it to add it back in yet. And that is the holder of the number for our health. So whenever we feed it back in from here, it'll automatically bump up that amount. So we're going to want to be able to call our player, and after we call our player, we're going to want to have access to that variable and add in whatever our health pickup value is to that health. And the way we did that, if you remember, I'm going to going to jump back in here for a second into my blueprints. We created this blueprint function list, right? And we're already casting to the player right here. We don't need to cast to the player inside of this blueprint because we already have a cast. All we need to do is use that function list just to our advantage. So we're going to type in get player because that's what we called that function. And if I go up to the top under the BPFL, my function list, we're getting player right here. Now, one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that the other character that is overlapping with this is our player, because we don't want anything to happen. Say we had some enemies rolling around or a cannonball might hit it. We don't want that to set this off. We want only the player to create anything, any interaction with this pickup. So we're going to do, from other actor, we're going to do a check. We're going to check to see who that other actor is. So we're going to hit the equals button, and we're going to get the function for is equal. And we're going to plug this in right there, and we're going to do a check. Is the other player, the other actor, the player? If it is the player, then we also want to do a check. If our player's health is already full, we need to actually do a check to make sure that we're not giving more health to our player than our player can get. We have the decreased health, but we do not have the isHealthFull check. So let's go ahead and jump in and do that real quick for our player. Then we can pull it up and call it. So let's go ahead and do a file save all, so in case something happens, we're not going to lose our work we've done. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to create a function. So under functions for our player, so BP player, we're going to hit the plus button, and we're going to do a check is health full. This is going to be pretty simple. We're going to do a check. We already have the variable health, so we're going to get whatever our health is, and we know that we have a setting for our max health, which should be 100. So I'm going to get the max health, and we're going to do a check. Are these equal? So hit the equals button. We're going to get the equal. And then we're going to need a return node. So we pull out from here and type in return. We're going to return node. And what we're going to return is this information right here. Are they equal? It'll return either true or false. And we can even give this a name right here. So the output return value is health full. And we're going to compile and save it. Okay, so that was on our BP player. So now we're going to jump back over to our blueprint for our health pickup. And we're going to pull out from here, and we're going to call is health full. And this is the function that we want. If anybody can tell me what's wrong with this right off the bat. Wait for a second. Okay, so one of the things I forgot to do is tell it that this is going to be a pure function, right? So we don't want any inputs. I just want an output from it. I want to be able to do a check to see if this is full so we can move on. We don't need to plug it in and have this set up. We could do it, but we don't need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our player with the return node selected. Right here, we're going to select pure. We're going to compile it and save it. And we're not going to make this a const because this needs to change. And we're going to go back into our pickup, and now we have what we want. We have the target here, and we got the output is health full right there. Now, if health's full, nothing should happen. So this should be not. So if it returns true, full, then we don't want this to happen. If it returns false, we do want something to happen. So we're going to do a check. We're going to type in not, and we want the not Boolean right here. If it's the other actor and health is not full, so we need an and Boolean. If both of these things are true, then in our branch, the condition will happen. If it's false, nothing should happen. If we have this condition to be true, then we want to add health and then we want the health to disappear. So the little health pickup should disappear. So we're going to, again, drag out from our player, and we want add health. So we're going to call this function, and this time we are going to have it as a function. If it's true, we want this to happen. So we want to call this function. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. And we're going to add in some health amount. Well, how much do we want? I had mine set to add 10 back in, but that's a variable. We could also hard code it here, but the advantage here is we could have different health pickups that may be identified by different colors. Maybe there's a red, green, blue versions, and each one has a different amount, and the higher amount may be more rare than the lower amount. So we could add the variable here. So let's add a variable, and we're gonna go ahead and call this health pickup amount. And this is going to be a float. We're going to compile it so we can actually get it. We're going to open the eye on this so that we can change these different amounts if we want to. And I'm going to compile it again. And now for the base amount, like I said, I just had 10 starting off with, and we'll use 10 to test it. All right, so now we're going to, basically we're going to go into the trigger. We're going to do a check, make sure health is not full, and it's the player. And if that's true, then we're going to add this amount of health. So let's pull this out. We're going to get that pickup. We're going to plug it in here. And then we want this actor, the health pickup, to get destroyed. And that is a function that exists already inside of Unreal Engine. We do not have to create this one. And we're going to destroy actor. And in this case, because it's inside the health pickup, self will work. We don't have to put anything in here for the target. All right, so that should get us started. I'm going to hit C and comment this, and we're just going to call this health. Why not? Something simple. Compile, save it. I'm going to go into the sandbox. I'm going to take this one right here, this in the world right here. I'm going to delete that because that is not actually a functional. That's just a model. I'm going to go into my contents, my blueprints, my pickups, grab and drop this into the world, drag it up. I'm going to hit play. There it is. It's rotating. First off, let's see if we can go through it. No problem. We can. Now, we actually have health, so we can't test it until we actually take some of our health away. So remember, we set up that little button, the K button. So hit the K button to drop our health down a little bit. And now if I go through it, it should disappear, and it should have added some health back in. And it did, but I have so much that I'm losing that it's hard to tell. So let's go into my player here. For my blueprint for my player in the event graph, this right here, I've been taking out 50. Let's just take out 10 for right now. Compile it, save it, go back in and try this again. So now if I hit K, I should lose 10 points worth of damage, and this should fill it back up. And it does. So we know that it's working correctly. That's going to be it for this tutorial. We've got the functioning blueprints. We have our everything all put together so that our player can actually regain health. But it's not exciting, right? So what we're going to need to do is one more tutorial on this, and that's where we're going to add in basically a particle, so a little kind of particle that poops up like something happened, and we're going to add a little sound effect to it too, so when we pick it up we get a little noise to let the player know that not only did it disappear, but we have a little animation of a particle that pops up, and then we also get a sound, and boom, we got health back in, everything's good to go. We're going to do that in the next tutorial. So again, if you had any issues with this tutorial, please leave me a comment down below, and I will get back to you. Don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time, and thanks for playing.